Hello again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Orange
Your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. Like Lindsay, Sutton, and Judy. We are the Mile High Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. What's up, Broncos country, and welcome to game day. Ayla, I just saw you join. How you doing?
Hi, Kev. I know these kiddos are falling in line, so it worked out in the start to be here. Oh, Broncos! This is gonna be nuts, dude.
The last 24 hours have been absolutely insane, and I'm glad everyone's here today. Jeremy, Rick, Leanie, if I'm saying your name right, and Kathy. Hit that share button for us, everyone. Glad you're here. Grab that beer. I'm going to need mine today, and probably after this beer, I'm going to go straight to whiskey because today's going to be a shit show.
It's going to be one of them days, is what I say.
So this is the first time in NFL history where both teams are not starting a regular quarterback. Saints are starting a tight end. We're starting a wide receiver. What's his first name? Hinton? What's his first name? Kenny Hinton? Kendall. See, so I saw this morning, Ian Rappaport put a tweet out there saying that there are some people in the Broncos building who have never even met the guy.
I didn't know he was on our practice squad. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I totally knew we had this random guy who is a wide receiver, but he's played quarterback, luckily. Yeah. And how does he feel? Jeez. Because I watched Coach give his interview yesterday, and this had not happened yet. I mean, it didn't even happen yet. It was after that the news broke of this, and it's like, wait a second. I saw somebody's post, like all three are inactive. I'm like, you're kidding me. No, they thought they were just watching them. Yeah. And it's like, no, all three are inactive. And I was just like, what the fuck?
So here's the thing. The NFL has now set a standard that under no circumstance is a game going to be postponed. Because if some other random player on another team gets, on the COVID list and they're like, oh, we have to postpone, that's going to, Roger Goodell is, anyway. Let's see.
I know. And we already got dicked over earlier this year. Let's pretend like, even though we won that Patriots game, what happened to us is we had to eat our bye week. Those guys practiced all week. So we already went through the gamut of, watching them totally cater to the Patriots.
Yep.
200%, even though it didn't work out for them.
It didn't work out, but still. Jeremy, you're absolutely right. Kindle. Am I saying I can't even remember how to say it.
I think it's Kendall.
Kendall.
Not like the book reading thing.
Right, but too. Something like that. Hinton. I remembered his last name. He did work in sales a month ago. So he has thrown for touchdowns.
There's still J.C. Penney's around? That's weird.
Apparently, in some places. But he did throw a touchdown last in 2017. So it's not like he's never done this before, just not for the NFL.
Right. No, and that's why they're using him. But we'll need that run game more than anything today.
Yeah.
And, anything could happen any given Sunday. That's why they have the phrase. I will never give up on this team, even though I might be drinking more than usual today just to get through it and laugh instead of not cry. We won't be, in our salty tears, like Kevin says, or whatever. But seriously, like, I could cry because this is so weird, but it's happening. We got to roll with it, and we don't have a choice.
Hey, I'm glad everyone's watching. Hit that share button for us. If you're not following us on Twitter already, check us out on Twitter. We're going to be posting throughout the game, giving live updates, at least from our point of view. And we have a live halftime show. Here at Orange Weekly, we are the home of the original live halftime show. If you see that somewhere else, they copied off of us. So halftime hash starts as soon as halftime begins. Join us here. And post your comments, post your questions. We want to hear what you guys have to say. And
Twitter's the @Orange Weekly, y'all.
@Orange Weekly.
Come give us a follow. The same handle for Instagram if you want some cool pictures and fun stuff going on. Come give us a follow. Come be a part of our group.
100%. 100%. Juan, do you expect the Broncos to get a big fine? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the circumstances were around. Was it a team meeting? Were they in the team facility? Like what exactly was the situation?
Well, because Coach said, Coach was at the Twitter interview yesterday. He was adamant that, people are always 6 feet apart no matter what. I saw somebody alerted them that they just didn't have their masks on. And it's like, well, one, who is this somebody and when did that happen? And why did it come out so late? The trace, they have to track everybody and trace where they go. But how did they? We'll probably never know either. The logistics of all of it, they're not going to divulge all that.
So, Lewis, you bring up a good point, but essentially that's what's happening. Believe it or not. So if you missed it in some of the other news from with Drew Brees going out and whatnot, the Saints are starting their tight end at quarterback. So in a way, it's maybe a little fair. It wasn't meant to be that way, but neither team is starting an actual quarterback.
Yeah, but they knew way ahead of time.
Not 24 hours before kickoff.
Less than 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jeremy, at this point, at this point, I don't know. The Broncos did try to bring in one of their coaches, I can't remember what it was.
That seems weird.
A lower end coordinator. Obviously the NFL said no, because that sets a standard for teams to put extra backup players on the coaching staff. So I like the ingenuity, but definitely not happening. So keep posting your comments and questions. We do have Ray here. We're going to do a little bit of a RAYgers show because the betting lines have changed drastically in the last 24 hours. So Ray is going to be here to kind of talk about what's going on and share his insights on the game while we answer your questions. So Ray, dude, before you get started, I did put $30 down on the Broncos to win because it was like a $250 winning. And I'm okay with losing $30, but I don't know if that's a smart bet. I'll let you walk us through some of the craziness, man.
Yeah, it's been wild just to see, hey, what's up, Jeremy? What's going on? One of the crazy things when we're talking about sports betting, right, is we need predictability. We're trying to find as much predictability as possible when we're talking about what are their odds in the last 10 games? What are the average receptions per game? Which running back is faring well? The run defense and where their offensive, power is. We look at all of these statistics and all of these metrics, and all of that shit just flies out the window with one sniffling COVID quarterback. And next thing you know, we got a wide receiver playing quarterback for the Broncos this week. So that's the challenge, right? Is this predictability? How the hell are we going to make a guess of what these games look like? I'm missing the first part of this conversation, but Tebow 2015, is that the type of game that we're going to see today, where it's going to be a significant amount of 3-and-outs, punts, field possession, and hopefully it's 10-3 in the fourth quarter and we see what the hell happens? That's the stuff that I'm just having a really tough time wrapping my mind around when we think about how this game is going to play out. We've been able to be, mindful about predicting which running back's going to get a larger share of the carries, right? We're able to pull from the press conferences all week long. Oh, we want to get Fant more involved or Judy more involved. And we can kind of dictate, okay, maybe, Fant sitting at 25 yards or 35 yards has some significant value. This week, we know literally nothing this week. And so that's the crazy thing right now. So interesting.
I know. And they did activate Judy, and it's like, well, what good is that going to do if we can't throw the ball this week?
Right.
I was like, can we please get the running game going big time? Just have all running backs in. Can we do that? God.
And that'll be the interesting thing. So, maybe I'll share a couple things, and I posted on the Twitter account some things that are interesting to me, at least, as I'm looking through this game. Number one is Kendall Hilton. His passing yards came out at 125 yards, over-under passing for the game. And so I thought that was an interesting number to see that's where sort of Vegas put that number at. They have to throw the ball at some point in time. There has to be some sort of ball that has to go in the air. And I don't know who the hell's going to throw it, whether that's Royce Freeman going to end up getting a few carries in the backfield. Do they just put Gordon, Freeman, and Lindsey in a T-bone formation, and they just let all three of them go in the backfield and do something? I don't know. My guess is there's probably going to be 10 to 12 passing plays in this game. That feels like probably a safe number. So 125 yards, I don't know if he quite gets there, but I think that we will see about 10 or 12 balls in the air. One of the lines that is interesting to me, and thanks for the snippet, is KJ Hamler sitting at 15 yards receiving for the week. And so to me, that's one reception for the guy. That's a bubble screen type of thing for KJ Hamler. I think he shakes loose. I know it sounds crazy that we got a guy that hasn't played quarterback since college and not a quarterback on the roster. And I'm going to take over the yards of one of our wide receivers. But I love KJ Hamler at 15 yards. They have to throw the ball at some point in time. And one of the things that I'm always kind of looking for is where the lines don't really quite add up. If we're going to get 125 yards passing, if that's what Vegas thinks that the passing yards are going to be, somebody's got to catch the ball. KJ Hamler at 15 yards is clearly looking like he's probably our star-studded number 2 wide receiver, and he's got breakaway speed. I think him at 15 yards seems like a really value play for players this week.
So, talking about, obviously, some passing games, but when you're looking at the running backs, I can't remember who just said it. We're looking to really, really, really run the ball. What do you think that's going to do to our offense? Especially if you're the Saints, you're just going to stack the box pretty much all game long. What is that going to do to the betting odds there, and what you expect to see?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one thing that I did notice right off the odds today is that both Lindsey and Gordon are about 10 to 15 yards higher than we've seen them on weeks every single week. Lindsey's been sitting right around the 36 to 40 yard mark. Gordon's in the mid-40s. This week we're seeing Gordon had already elevated upwards to 55 to 59 yards rushing at some books that I've seen so far. I've also seen Phillip Lindsay sitting more like 45, 50 yards, and I think somebody asked earlier, will Lindsay get screwed over again today? I don't even know if that's an option because that dude's going to run the ball 10 times.
Dude, they're going to have to use him. They're going to have to use both of them a lot. It's screwed over is the wrong word for it, too. It's not that they're screwing him over. They're just using him the way that the coaches see fit.
Totally. So, to me, I'm staying away from the running backs today, Dandino, for a couple of reasons. One is I think the Broncos are going to attempt to shorten the game. I think that's their only attempt today is it's going to be 3 or 4 3 and outs. We're going to see a couple 3 and outs, maybe a first down here and there. They're going to try to slow down the game in some way, shape, or form. Right. That tells me lots of carries, but they're going to be cool with just a 3 and out and punt. I think we're going to see 3rd and 8, and we're going to see a rush for 2 yards, and we're going to see a punt happen multiple times today. That tells me that from
both sides of it.
Yeah, I don't know. The interesting thing about the Saints, though, is they can score points in a hurry, and that's the thing that really scares me about this game. Is we could be sitting here at halftime and it could be 28-3.
But I don't. I do want to just give credit to our defense too, because as much as we think this is going to be a weird offensive thing, we can't discredit what our defense always does and does to quarterbacks that aren't used to quarterbacking. So I think that could be our default. And I do always believe in Mile High Magic is one thing that I have always been a fan, and I always bring it up of how different it is to play in Denver.
Yep.
I don't know what the weather's like today there, but
Sure.
that air is thin, and it takes, you see people crash after halftime, and I probably bring that up way too much, but I think it's a huge factor.
Yeah, and here's my concern, and I agree. I think the defense has bailed out this offense way too many times this year, and really put us in a chance to win these games. But let's just look at the points the Broncos have given up in the last, let's just say, 6 weeks, right?
So it's at the end of the game.
Yeah, and certainly, towards the end of the game. Of course, we give up, 13 to Miami in that win, but we go back from there. 37 points, 34 points, 30 points, 43 points. We give up, we win in the win against New England. We catch that one. We go before that 28 to the Jets, 28 to Tampa Bay, 26, and then Tennessee Titans, 14. So we're looking against some pretty solid teams. Broncos tend to give up in the 20s. I mean, that's just the name of the game. And I think part of that is because the offense tends to put them in really susceptible positions, whether that be turnovers, crappy play, special teams play, quick third and outs that, now the defense has got to play 20 plays.
And Spencer's out this week, right? So we don't even know who's going to be returning. Coach kind of didn't even give a definite answer for that one as well. He's like, well, it could be to get. It's like, oh, thanks for telling us. But why would, then again, why would he tell us the game plan? Because that you just want to kind of keep that under wraps as well.
Certainly. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game. One of the things that I posted also on the Twitter feed, if you all are over there, OW Orange Weekly RAYgers, where you can find us if you want to get some more information specifically about sports betting. I'm voting for chaos. So I'm taking the over. The over in the game's at 36 points. It's an extremely low over. I mean, we don't ever see overs in the 30s almost ever in the NFL. I mean, even the most dumpster fire game you can think of, New York Jets against Washington Redskins, that game will be like 44 points, right? So the fact that we're seeing almost at 10 points lower than what we see ever, I'm just going to take the over. That's straight heart, no really sense of real, legitimate backing of any sort of statistic. Again, Broncos tend to give up quite a few points, but I just want chaos to happen. Yeah. I want to see the Broncos.
I want it to be so unexpected. I want us to create some chaos. I've been calling for a pick six going on like the 4th week in a row. I am fucking ready for a pick six to happen. Like, let's just make that one happen. They always feel so sweet. And, the defense needs that for their morale because, let's face it, they're on the field all the time. And they can do it.
And hey, Cordell, this is a great point here. If the Denver D will win it for them. So this is a perfect concept that we talk about oftentimes where we're talking about hedging our bet. Here's what I would do. If you're Kevin Dandino out there and you have thrown down $50 on the Broncos to win plus 800 odds or whatever it is, 30 to win, 250 or whatever you're going to win on this, Kevin.
Yep.
What I would do is I would put $30 on the over. And here's the reason why. Is because if the Broncos are going to win, it's going to be a close game, a 13-10 slugfest, right?
Yep.
There's no way the Broncos are winning today if the Saints score 28 points, period. I mean, I can't even comprehend where 28 points are going to come from this offense, right? So this is a perfect chance that if you really, the D's got a chance here, you could honestly kind of hedge your bet just a little bit and just say, I'm going to take the Broncos to win and say our defense is going to get us. We got a little mile-high magic sprinkled in there, right? Maybe we get that pick six. Something kind of special happens in a unique way. Then you take the over in the game, so that way you kind of hedging your bet there in the sense that if the Broncos do win, you're going to get paid 7-8 times your money. And if they don't win, most likely the game's gone over. It's a 38-10 sort of route. And you've at least got your money back on the backside of that. So that's an interesting way. Again, if you kind of believe that. I don't see St. Louis winning this game 20-3. I mean, the St. Louis is either going to whoop us or it's going to be kind of a fun, interesting game that we're going to see kind of play out. So,
So somebody else had talked about earlier the tight end situation and really utilizing those. So are there any bets when it comes to tight end utilization and Noah Fant?
Right now I'm seeing Noah Fant sitting at 20 yards on most sites. I'll pull it up here real quickly to see if anything has changed right now. again, I like Noah Fant. I've said this statistic so many times. I can't, if most of you already know by the top of your head, but Noah Fant is the number one in the NFL when it comes to pass to yards after the reception. When it comes to his breakaway speed, number one in the entire NFL last year. Top 5 type of guy when it comes to these kinds of things. When we look at numbers that are in the 10, 12, 20-yard range, which again, Noah Fant's typically a 44 to 55-yard every week over under. Yeah. Noah Fant just needs to catch one ball and he could break it 20 yards. I mean, I think that is the reality of the situation. The creativeness that we might see out of this, the 2 tight end set, that's the part that's kind of confusing to me. The Broncos they love their tight ends, but I can't ever tell who's going to get the lion's share on the tight end side of things. It just seems like somebody different catches the ball every week, whether it's Vannett that steps up for a couple of catches. Or
right. It seems like out of nowhere, too, when Vannett's kind of on. He's like hit or miss.
Totally. And oftentimes when you get these second, third string tight ends, you don't even get lines for these guys because, Vegas doesn't even know or can make any predictions on that. So, Fant sitting still at 20 yards right now. I think that there is significant value in that, again, because I think that they have to throw the ball at some point. Where Vegas is predicting 125 receiving or passing yards in the game. Fant, 20 yards, that's a 2-catch type of day. Can you see Fant having 2 catches, 20 yards today? I think definitely he could probably even end up in that kind of that 1-catch, 33-yard type of route where he just gets kind of away with the running back, shakes a guy, and next thing you know, he's gone.
Because he can shake him and go too. That guy is a beast. I've always been on the Noah Fant train. I love that guy.
Yeah, same. And we've made a lot of money. We've lost a lot of money on Fant over the years. And I think when it comes to sort of our tough time predicting week in and week out what's going on in the tight end room, right? I think we lost a bet one week. There were 17 completions to tight ends, and we lost a Noah Fant bet. And that just tells you it's how hard it is to make a call on what's going to happen in that tight end room. So
that's a hard one.
Hey, everyone, post your score predictions. We want to talk about that, hear what you're thinking. And then don't forget, we're going to be live tweeting throughout the game. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at Orange Weekly and also follow us on Instagram at Orange Weekly. And then if you want to hear more of Ray's bets and betting lines and what he's thinking, follow him on Twitter at OW Raygers. Raygers,
you got it. Yep.
OW Raygers. Yep. So we're all there on Twitter. Make sure you follow us. But again, start posting those score predictions, guys. Okay. Raymond, let me ask you this one. Is there anything crazy that you're seeing on the betting sheets right there? Is there anything you're just like, I didn't expect this, or this is like a definite, nobody's going to pick this one, but I feel comfortable about it?
Yeah, the one thing that I don't know, and I don't know if we've been able to break this down in any way, shape, or form, is I'm curious about Emmanuel Sanders' sort of return to Mile High in some capacity, playing, of course, on the other side of the ball this week. His yards seem incredibly low. I don't tend to look at the other way. I hate to bet against the Broncos, and do some of those bits and pieces because it's always a hard call to say, you don't want to be rooting against your other team, doing something against the Broncos. But Emmanuel Sanders is sitting at 30 yards this week for receiving yards. Emmanuel Sanders returned to Mile High. I love the guy. He to me is an all-timer when
he's so fun to watch. He's so fun.
Yes, yeah, and it was such like the heartbeat of a couple of those major winning seasons, and unbelievable that way that dude will take a hit and just pop right back up. So those are kind of some fun things that I'm seeing here. Here's a fun one, DENvsNO, is who scores a touchdown today if somebody on the Broncos score a touchdown today. I think that's a fun one. What we're seeing is we're getting three times odds across the board on any Bronco to score a touchdown at any point in time in the game, where we're typically, for like the Melvin Gordons and the Lindsays of the world, we're only getting even money. Vegas doesn't think that Broncos are scoring a touchdown today at all. And so that's something that I think is really interesting as we're looking at the lines.
I'm like, oh, well, it's definitely happened this year. So
fair point. So we're seeing Melvin Gordon is 3-1 odds to score a touchdown today. He's our best chance as a Bronco. We see Kendall Hilton, the quarterback today, is 4-1 odds to score a touchdown. He's got the second best odds on the team. to score a touchdown. So, Jeremy, if you love that Hilton bet, I mean, he's plus 410 right now to score a touchdown. That could be an interesting play. I think if you could figure out which Bronco's going to score a touchdown, you can make some significant dough today by predicting that guy. I don't know if, again, I don't know if the Broncos are scoring 2 or 3 or 4 touchdowns today, but they might get a couple in some capacity. So that's kind of an interesting thing that you almost never see, DENvsNO, is lines where to even score a touchdown in the game, we're talking 3-1 odds just for somebody to get into the end zone, right?
Wow.
And so, I mean, like, for example, Derrick Henry this morning was 4 odds the other way. I mean, he was minus 410 to score just a touchdown at some point in time during the game. He's already got, I think, 3 today already. I mean, he's a beast. That's the kind of odds that you see sometimes for these top key guys. I've seen Gordon at minus 150s this year. Again, that meaning that we're laying some juice there to get some money back. But now we're getting 3-1 odds on basically across the board. So that to me, if you want to talk about unusual, we got an over-under that's in the mid-30s, which almost never happens in the 5 or 10 years that I've been seriously following sports betting and betting. And then we also see 3-1 odds on any quarterback or anybody to score a touchdown. And, I love Sanders, so I wanted to give him a little shout out, man. I welcome back, Sanders. I hope you have a big day, and I hope the Broncos win.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Hey, I want to start. So, Ray, what I'm going to do is we're going to go around the horn here a little bit. I'm going to do some plugs, but I want to hear what bets you're taking, and that way it gives people time to go make their own bets. If you want to throw $30 at the game like I did and pick the Broncos to win, because why the fuck not? And I'm going to take the over now as well. But yeah, so I want to hear that really quickly, guys. Remember, we are the home of the original live halftime show. If you see anybody else out there doing that in Broncos country, they are copycats. We are the original, and we have the most fun with it because we talk with you guys, not at you guys. So join us live here on Orange Weekly at halftime, and we can break down the first half of the game and talk to you all about what's going on. And then don't forget about our podcast, pregame, postgame podcast. We also have that Monday night show, Orange Weekly After Dark, 9 p.m. Mountain Time. We have the Bourbon Broncos No BS flagship show at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We got the pregame show, the halftime show. We got a ton of stuff. Go ahead and visit our website, BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. But we're glad you're here and keep posting your score predictions. But Ayla, I want to start with you. What are some of the big things you're looking for today? Maybe some worries, concerns, but also just, overall feeling for the game too.
Oh, man. Well, I'm just pumped to see what's going to happen. I think we're, history groundbreaking. I love that kind of stuff. Tight end against wide receiver. Let's see what they can make happen. And with zero preparation as far as what plays are going to go, that's just going to be interesting. I believe in Vic more and more as each week goes. It doesn't show so much from the outside, but I think he's got head coach capabilities. So we'll see what he can pull out this week. And I'm excited to see how they will utilize the running backs because that's going to be a huge part. I thought we had good practice from last week's game and that we can just capitalize and keep on going from there. And I love that we have the chip on our shoulder. Once again, nobody expects the Broncos to be able to do something, and that's when we seem to be able to pull it out. So I kind of like our unpredictability that way, and that it's exciting and history making. I think that's one of a kind. It's going to be memorable. This year has been insane no matter what, and this just adds like a depth layer to that, which I love.
No, 100%. It's going to be crazy if you ask me. So what I'm thinking is, I don't want to put all the pressure on Hinton. I would like to see some trickery a little bit, if you will, some jet sweep to maybe Royce Freeman, let him throw the ball and keep the Saints defense on their toes pretty much. Obviously, you really stick with that running game. Look, we held Tua last week to about 150 yards before he got benched or something crazy like that, right? So I think our defense is going to be able to do their part once again. Now we're going to need them to get that turnover, pick six. This is the perfect time for this team to get a pick six. Right. This is huge. So they're going to keep the game plan simple when it comes to the passing game, but I want them to do stuff that is going to take some of the pressure off of him and just keep the defense on their toes so they're not continually stacking the box against us. So, and Red Cloud, you know what? I hope this is the case. If Hint comes out and just, lit it up, like just did phenomenal. And everyone's like, Now, but you know the
So
conversation,
awesome, right?
and Red Cloud is I don't want to say anti-Lock, but just he's anti-Drew Lock. But if Hinton goes out there and does phenomenal, you know that a ton of people across Broncos country is like, we found our new quarterback, right? So either way, I want this guy to do well. As somebody said it earlier in the chat, these guys just need to go out and have fun. Like at this point, are people really expecting the Broncos to win? No. Do they expect this to be a messy game? Yeah. So why not? If you're Hinton, dude, no pressure. Nobody's expecting you to throw for 300 yards and get 4 touchdowns, right? Just go out there and have fun. But let's do some stuff that makes sense. It's not stupid, but makes sense, but moves the ball around and has, I would love to see Royce Freeman throw for 1 or 2 times throughout the game. So that's just me. If Royce Freeman has any like passing yards on the bet sheets there, I might put $5 down on that one just because I really want to see it. But so that's just me. But so Ray, we'll leave it with you here. And once again, halftime show, guys. We are here live as soon as halftime starts. I'll be here with you guys for that. So, Ray, again, big thoughts, but then also what specific bets are you taking? Because I think Jared here, our co-founder of Orange Weekly, is waiting to hear what the exact bets you're taking so we can all go put money down.
I mean, Jared, man, I've already funded half of Jared's kids' college tuition at this point in time. So I'm thank you for having me on today. And again, I'm voting for chaos. That's my vote today. I think this game is going to be quirky. I think there's going to be some memorable moments that we'll be looking back, at the end of the year to next year, that we're seeing some significant interest things that are going to be happening there. So here's a couple of things that I have in mind. Again, I'm going to take over 36 points in the game. I know, listen, when we're talking about betting, I know you got to take your heart out of it a little bit. The Saints could realistically drop 36 points themselves. And I think 36 points in the game is a safe bet only because it's so low. It's asking for chaos, and the Saints might get you about 30 points there. So if the Broncos drop a touchdown in there, I think that absolutely covers that. I'm staying away from the running back room this week again. I think the Broncos will have 150 yards rushing. I just don't know who the hell is going to get those 150 yards, whether that's going to be between Hinton, Freeman, Lindsey, Gordon. I think it's going to be impossible to predict. So I'm just staying away from that part of the spreadsheet this week. I'm officially going to take KJ Hamler over 15 yards. Again, that's one catch he can shake and break. I'm going to take Noah Fant over 20 yards. When you're talking about receiving yards, it doesn't matter who throws the ball to them. It just matters if they caught the ball, right? And so I think that there's a little bit more predictability in that realm when we're talking about making some money. And then I'm also going to take the Broncos to score over 1 field goal in the first half. So right now, I think the Broncos get on the scoreboard. I think it's a field goal from McManus. Right now, the over-under is set at 0.5 at minus 150. You're not getting a huge return on your investment, but at least you're getting half your money back on that bet. So I'm taking those 4 today. Again, kind of gambling for chaos. And if you're out there and you've taken the Broncos to win, my advice to you would be to hedge that bet and take it the other direction, to take the over. That way, if they do win, it's going to be close. And if they get blown out, you at least got your money back. So
100%. That sounds great, man. And sorry for the fire alarm going off. Whenever we get Papa Murphy's, it tends to set it off. We need out of this apartment. It's going to be great. It doesn't matter what we do. It sets it off every time. So the building's not on fire. We're all good. But yeah, so look, for me, crazy game. But I expect the defense. Look, we've seen this defense really step up and keep the offense in it. I think you're going to see them kick it into another gear this week. They're not facing Drew Brees. Yes, they're facing, the Saints have had a whole week to plan stuff out. But I think the defense is going to do every single thing they can to do to keep us in the game. Right. All our offense has to do is play smart, not turn over the ball, and keep the defense off the field.
Convert a couple third downs,
right.
And
exactly.
And like a whole, don't deflate our defense too much by, not having them or having them on the field the whole time. Like, just keep our offense on the field a little bit. Like,
look,
and the chip aways. Like, just chip away.
Yep.
You know what we need? Just get in field goal range for McManus.
Yeah.
We have McManus. You don't have to drive it completely down the field every time. Obviously, 1 or 2 touchdowns would be phenomenal.
The best Instagram post of him throwing a football at this champagne bottle in like a robe. It's just like total McManus McShittery. I loved it. That guy's great.
So anyway, that's what I'm thinking, guys.
Hopefully they have fun today because history in the making. Right. It's gonna be a shit show, If we're not playing Drew Brees. It's a good Saints team, but we've got a good, surprising Denver team that shows up out of nowhere sometimes, and I think we could do it again today.
Yep. 100%. Okay, guys, we're about 30 minutes away from kickoff. We're going to head out here, but remember, follow us on Twitter if you're not already. We are at Orange Weekly. Ray is at OW RAYgers. We're going to be tweeting throughout the game today. And just let's all have fun today. Look, grab a beer, grab a whiskey, and just sit back and enjoy whatever this is going to turn out to be.
Grab a bubbly water if you don't drink, because that's cool too.
That's cool too. That's fine. To each their own. Hopefully I won't be needing whiskey by the end of the game, and it's just more like, okay, that was interesting.
Yeah, we'll see your halftime hash, Kevin. Are you going to be halftime Schlur or halftime?
When I do the halftime show, I usually don't switch to whiskey until after the show.
Yeah, sure.
Today, we'll see how that goes. We will see how that goes. So, okay,
just
guys.
have fun. I think that's the motto.
Any closing thoughts from the two of you?
You go ahead.
Have a good time, y'all.
Yeah, it should be fun. And let me throw out a what the hell. McManus breaks the all-time field goal record today, and he kicks in a 68, 69-yarder in the game at some point in time.
Boom.
You might as well let today be the day to try it.
What the hell? You have 50 at the 50-yard line? Let it rip. Who cares?
Let it rip.
Yeah.
Let it rip.
Listen to us, Fangio. Let that kicker kick the football.
Might as well. Okay, guys, nothing else but to say, but as always, a strong
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a